Hey guys, it's JH, welcome to Practice Tee. And guys, today could be a momentous practice tee. I think after all the years of hitting golf balls and trying to work out the Davinci code of the golf swing, I think I've finally done it. I really think I've done it. For me, I've had 3 days of working with this process, and the weather here has been unbelievable. We've had, yesterday I was hitting like 70 km/h winds and I was hitting straight into it for like 2.5 hours. The day before was probably 50. Today it's probably gusting 45. The problem I had videoing, well, I couldn't do any videos yesterday because it just kept blowing the camera over. No matter what we did, it just blew it over. So guys, it's for me it's a momentous occasion. And this has come about by going down the fold slap down road, which is basically the Lee Como C motion methodology. But what I'm doing is not what Lee does in actual process, because I don't know how Lee gets his swing to work yet. We're liaising and he's going to bring me up to speed, but at the moment I really don't know. I just see his motion, I see things happening in the motion, but I don't know what they are, and until Lee enlightens me I won't be able to tell you guys what that is. But what I've been doing and just trying to do my own version of C motion or slap down or fold and slap, I just found something. I found something a couple of days ago, and guys, from the moment I found it, like from the first shot I found it, it stayed there. I've never had that happen to me ever in any of the swing mechanics or processes that I've explored over the years. That has never ever happened. There's always been ups and downs, a bit of progress, a bit of regress, and sometimes a complete detour. But this has been the same for 3 days, and I really haven't missed a shot for 3 days. The couple of guys, the buddies of mine that were here yesterday, and it was just brutal. The wind was brutal, and I hit balls for them for about 40 minutes, and they were stunned. They were stunned. I mean, they've seen me hit balls before, and I've had periods where, with the no1 stuff, where I can hit it really accurate for a while, but the conditions were so bad, and I was just absolutely nailing everything, and the swing was the same. I never lost it. Okay guys, what is it, I hear you say? Okay, so what we're doing with C motion or slap down is that we've got this bicep curl, which is what Lee does. Lee basically tries to do that, tries to put the club on his shoulder here in the golf swing. So it's a vertical raising of the golf club. I mean, I don't do that to the extent that I'm trying to do it, but that's my intention. Lee does it fantastically well. But in doing that, when I was fiddling with it initially, when I'm doing this, I'm getting this feel, I had a very, very significant feeling about what my right arm was doing and the position of it. And what it's evolved into is this, that when I cock this arm up here, I'm basically starting with my arm, my trail arm on my body, my trail elbow on my body. It's touching my body and it's pushing into my body. And this whole humerus section here, down to the elbow, is feeling like it's basically just glued to my rib cage. And it's perpendicular to the ground. It's just there. And what I'm doing, guys, is I'm trying to maintain the station, that station of that arm in the golf swing. Backwards. And certainly when I come to here, I want it to stay here. I never want this this humerus and this elbow to ever get past this part of my body, ever, in the golf swing, ever. I don't want the arm going past there. I don't want that humerus going past my body and the arm running off. All I want to do is keep that station there, here, and I'm going to fire the arm down, but this relationship here is the same. It never changes. Now, I know what you're saying, or thinking. Okay, if that stays at JH, how do we get the club to the ball? Well, guys, we fire the forward pivot. And that is this trail side, this quadrant here, this shoulder quadrant here, we fire that. We fire that straight at the ball. This tip of the shoulder, I fire it straight at the golf ball. Like this. When I get here, this never moves. To get the club to the ball, all I do is I fire this to the ball. This never goes forward of this hip joint as a feeling. It just stays there. And I fire this quadrant here, this shoulder quadrant here, this point, I fire that. It's a pivot drive into the ball. And this here is just totally dormant. But the power gets unbelievable, and the consistency of hit is extraordinary. And it works from everything. I have exactly the same golf for the first time in my life. I have exactly the same golf swing feeling for a pitch shot to a driver. It feels the same. And there's no structural difference. I mean, with my driver, I'm not pushing my arm out here, it's here. With my wedge, it's here. Everything is exactly the same. Just goes here. Now, in the golf swing, clearly that'll move away a little bit. And I won't be doing this yet, but I'm working towards that. But on the downswing, guys, I can tell you, this here never ever goes that way. All it does is it moves with the pivot. It moves with the pivot. It doesn't do anything independent. And that's why the golf swing is so consistent. Because there's no independent action of this trail arm. None. And that, as a conclusion, that's the reason, there's no question in my mind, that's the reason most of us are inconsistent. Certainly the reason I was inconsistent. Because this will do something different every time. But I promise you guys, when you get that there and you just fire the pivot, this is almost like it's super glued there. It will never, as a feeling, it's almost like there's a wall here and this can't get past it. This arm, this elbow can never get past this wall here. The only way it gets to the ball is I've got to drive the pivot here. Everything's driving the whole right side, but I'm driving that pivot, that quadrant of the right shoulder. Guys, I promise you, it is absolutely fantastic. Now, I think that there's a huge element of that in Lee Comeau's golf swing, a huge element. He doesn't talk about it as such. He does talk about containment here in this section, but he doesn't talk about that arm not moving past here. Now, I'm sure he feels that, and he'll probably say to me, hey JH, that's exactly what I do. I just haven't told you that. As I say, guys, this is an evolvement. I've evolved this by working on Lee's action, on C motion. And it just came just by, because I was fiddling, I was just doing this. I was doing this and then say, yeah, I'd love to be there because that feels good, but say, how would I get the club to the ball? You know, because normally we just release the arm and it gets the club to, get it here and then just fire the pivot. Just fire that there. In essence, guys, that's what Hogan did. He had more pitch elbow, his elbow went forward of the rib cage, but he fired his pivot, and that's why his hands were basically so dormant in the golf swing, and he retained his angles so well, but he fired that pivot. There was no, slashing action with the hands. Now, when you see Lee swing in normal speed, it looks like it's a huge amount of free-flowing hands and club and everything, but when you watch him in slow motion, slow everything down, it's not. He's so connected, it's unbelievable. And of course he's got the best rotational value of anybody I've ever seen. I mean, he is the absolute gyroscopic action. I mean, he turns around this better than anyone that's ever played. That's ever hit golf balls. Better than anyone. No one's ever done that as good as he does. So guys, it's very, very, very exciting because I haven't missed a shot in 3 days. And the conditions have been brutal. They were so brutal no one else was here before the guys came in the afternoon, because you couldn't hit balls, they'd come back over your head. I mean, you could hit a 5-iron, you couldn't hit 100 metres. But I was smashing it. I mean, it was just ridiculous how strong the shots were and how good I was hitting it. And in the afternoon, when the boys, because I told the boys I was going down, I was going to try and shoot some video yesterday, but I couldn't because it was just, you know, too brutal. It kept blowing the camera. But still probably 40 k's now, 45 k's, straight here. And you know, I've got the camera weighted a little bit so it's not falling over. But guys, that's the essence of it. I'm folding this here, turning here, and then as I come down, this all stays here. This never comes forward. I'm not holding angles or anything like that. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just keeping this here, and I'm turning like that. I don't want the humerus or the elbow to go forward. It's the weirdest feeling. As you come down, it feels like this is actually there, staying there, and you're doing that. But guys, I mean, I'm absolutely smashing it, and I haven't missed a shot. I don't know how many balls I hit over the 3 days, but I haven't missed one. And it worked from the first shot that I hit. The very first shot. It's crazy. I've never done that in my life. I've had periods with no1 where I've hit the ball, you know, great, from 100, 150 shots in a row. But you know, then you'll have a break and you'll come back and you'll hit some not so good. But with this, every time I come back, it's good. It has the same shape. Now that could be the golf club. It's got a really boring draw, flight about it. But that could be these golf clubs, because these golf clubs are pretty upright, and I normally don't play with upright golf clubs. And Lee Como's clubs are like 6 or 7 degrees flat. So, you know, I've only been using these graphites and these easy to hit clubs because I hit so many golf balls and it blows my elbows out. Because the ground we have over here is really hard, even though I don't hammer the ground too much. So if I hit, you know, big steel shafts, and it really does hammer my elbows. So I've been using the softer shafts. But if these golf clubs were flatter, would just go dead straight. Look, most people wouldn't worry about it. I mean, because I just like to hit the ball dead straight. But it's a little, you know, little 3-yard, 4-yard draw. But that probably wouldn't worry you guys. But that's probably a byproduct of the golf club. Yeah. So guys, this will be video 1, and I'll come back in a moment and I'll just hit some shots and just show you what it's all about. And I'll try and work out some angles. We might be able to hit some down range. Okay guys, I'll come back for video 2.